We're getting significantly more advanced every show.
Every show. It's good. It's important.
I never know what to do during the intro music, so I just try to make eye contact with somebody and don't let go. So
That's cool.
strange.
I get to throw graphics up over it, so
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's like the one spot where it doesn't really matter what you do. But the only people who ever actually get to see this are the people who are willing to fork over money to our Patreon. Because, if you want to see the video that bad, then fucking give me $1. Today on the wonderful adventure here, we got Mr. Stephen Settanni from Arizona. Did I pronounce all that right?
You put a little more panache on it than I'm used to. It's Stefan, but I like Stefan. It gives me more sophistication, so I like it. But thank you.
We like to try and build the people up here. Build the people up,
Nice.
as much as we can. But why don't you go ahead and give everybody that listens to the show a little brief synopsis about what you got going on, what you do, who you are, all that fun shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys for having me. My name's Stephen Settanni. I'm here in Phoenix. I'm a comedian and podcaster. I did stand up for about a year. Stand up and I broke up. I'll get into that a little bit later. But right now I've really heavily invested in the podcasting. And so I have a podcast called A Comedy Advice Podcast, very cleverly named, but I run that and I've been doing that for about 3 years. So essentially what it is I usually have a comedian of a guest, whether it's a local guest or somebody that's been on Comedy Central or Netflix or Hulu, whatever. And then we go along and we give advice. And the advice we usually get from fans or questions that I find across Reddit, Quora, Yahoo Answers, the barnacles of the internet, really. So we just have a good time. And that's me.
sounds awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So is it meant to be kind of like a course kind of deal, or is it more just general comedy crap?
Yeah, I would put it in the general comedy crap pile. I mean, what it was meant to be was a way for me to be in touch with my brothers, because they both lived here in Arizona while I was in New Jersey, and so we wanted to stay in touch. Then they kind of lost interest and got bored with it, as they usually do with me and all the things that I try and schedule. So I ended up bringing on guests, and it's turned into, we have a little mini interview where I learn about stand-up comedy and this particular guest style, how they got into comedy, what they've done, their challenges, their plights, etc. And then we get into a little bit of silliness. So it's really interesting where you have a little bit of the boilerplate type comedy questions, and then through the advice, there might be silly questions that raise other times that remind them of a story, of something that happened to them. So it's a nice little way of getting intimate.
So what was the name of that podcast?
It's called A Comedy Advice Podcast.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we get that repeated, because I'm pretty slow and it's been a long day and a lot of cannabis. So I just want to make sure things stay clear in my own brain, because it's not. So what brought you to Jersey, man?
So this is a semi-long story, but I'll try and be succinct as possible. I was a language major in college, and I ended up living in Italy for a while, and I wanted to live in Italy, but I guess I only made it halfway, and I didn't have the proper documentation, so I went to Jersey. I saw Jersey Shore. I saw there were Italians there, so I thought this might be a great place to be able to showcase my Italian. And so I ended up in Jersey, and I stayed there. And I ended up getting a job at Rosetta Stone. So I don't know if you guys remember.
Oh, wow.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wanted to get it, but too dumb.
Oh, no. Hey, Rosetta Stone, all you really need is commitment. You need to just do it. Because if you do it, you learn it. It's like teaching a language as if you were a baby. So it's really interesting, and I won't bore you with all the details.
Dude, I've always
but
been interested, but like I said, I don't mean too dumb. I meant too lazy.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay, yeah, then that's fair. That's totally fair. But I ended up really selling a lot of stones, because people would come to me and they'd be like, "How many languages do you speak?" And I learned Italian through growing up with the last name of Settanni. You almost have to speak Italian.
Right.
Lived in Italy.
Yeah.
I learned Spanish kind of through school and everything, and growing up with a lot of friends that were from Mexico or Mexican. And so that a little bit. And then I learned Portuguese through Rosetta Stone. And so I had these different experiences of living in a country, learning through family, learning in school, and learning through Rosetta Stone. And so it's really a really interesting software tool. And I was able to sell a lot. So I got good money from selling the stones to soccer moms or people that just were walking around the mall at noon or whenever. So
Right.
that was a fun time. Yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So it was fun, and then ended up closing down all of the kiosks. So they were doing their online sales. So then I was out of a job. So then I couldn't sell stones anymore. And Portuguese and Italian didn't really serve me too well outside of that.
Not in Jersey, it doesn't.
It should have gone to Providence. Portuguese.
Yeah. So now the Portuguese served me kind of well outside of that, because there's a big Brazilian community in Newark, New Jersey. So I was able to meet some friends, and I ended up meeting my wife, who's Brazilian. She was fluent in English by that time, but I ended up meeting her, and then I ended up getting a job in digital marketing randomly, totally serendipitous. But I ended up doing that, and then I was doing that for 7 years and stayed in Jersey. And so I was working in New York, but living in Jersey for about 6 years.
That's kind of how it works for most people that work in New York, unless you're, fucking loaded.
Yeah, seriously. And I was the opposite of loaded when I first started too. So we were living in, it was not a nice place. And we lived there for the whole 7 years. So we were able to eventually, as we progressed in our careers, we were able to start saving some money and everything. But you would just look at the crime map of Elizabeth, New Jersey, and you'd see red dots everywhere. It looked like it was chicken pox, but it was murder. So lots of murders and shootings and things that happened there.
MDK.
Yeah.
Jersey's fun, man. I like it. I actually sold magazines there for like a month down in South Jersey, right by Camden.
Oh, okay.
It was the I can't remember the name of that little town that's like right there beside. It's like Belmead or some shit.
Yeah.
Woodbury and that whole area down in there,
Yeah.
I walked around for like a month, just basically getting drunk with people and hanging out and being told not to go to Camden.
Right.
That's smart advice.
There was a lot of that. I met the former police chief of Camden. He was like showing me his pictures and all that shit. And he was like, well, fuck your magazines, but if I buy one, will you not go to Camden? And I was like, yes. I was like, yes, I absolutely will not go to Camden.
I think it's got a bad rap.
It wasn't that bad, man. That's like they have like there was this little pizza shop in Camden that I went to all the fucking time whenever we were there. They had like you could get a good slice and 6 wings for like $5. Fucking good deal. You know what I mean? Another $2 you get a nice beer.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I've been there though, and it gets scary after dark. It gets real scary.
I actually didn't meet James in Camden at the fish show because I didn't want to go to Camden.
Well, I mean, most people don't want to go to Camden. Yeah, we were just kind of there. I was drinking probably a gallon of liquor a night, so it's not like I was in my right mind.
Yeah. Was Camden? I think they had. Did they film a couple murders from The Sopranos there? I think they threw an Irish guy over a bridge or something like that. No, maybe it wasn't in Camden, somewhere else. But I can't remember where my wife and I went, but we tried to go see a park. I can't remember if it was Camden or not, but it may have been. And the park was completely closed off because the funding had long gone for being able to maintain it. But people didn't care, so they were actually they broke the fence, so it just bent. It was a metal fence too, just bent. And so people were just crawling over, and the grass wasn't well kept at all. So you could see the grass was starting to grow, and people were just walking through. And nice little waterfall and a water wheel that you could take a picture of, but as long as you got the fence and all of the unkept grass out of the frame. But
Jersey's fun. It's one of my favorite things that happened was I don't remember what little town, because there's like 10 fucking towns right there, right button up next to Philly, working my way up a street, and this lady was like, "You're not supposed to be doing that. I'm calling the police." And when I came back up her side of the street, she was like, "You fucking dick, they told me to tell you to fuck off. They're not coming out."
No soliciting.
I was like, "Can I just not knock on your door and you shut the fuck up?" And she was like, "Yeah." And that was it. It was awesome. God,
Oh my God.
Northeast is so much fun, man. And the state you live in now, Arizona, fuck that place.
Dude, Arizona. I agree with you. It's a horrible, horrible place.
Well, I mean, I don't really mind most of Arizona. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff about Arizona. It's really pretty.
I've gone out to spring training there. I mean, that
nice.
That can be real fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I met Will Ferrell there.
Oh, how was he, by the way? Was he a nice guy?
Well, I just touched him, but
That sounds very intimate. You should have a better evaluation.
Where
he
Is
he
this the
did
beginning of a Me Too story?
should be James and Will. No, it was the day he was doing a documentary for HBO about baseball and playing every position for every team. And he landed on a helicopter and went and played for
Cubs.
the Reds.
Oh, it was the Cubs.
He played for every team
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But yeah, it was pretty intense. It was awesome. But I mean, it's February in Ohio. It's like 12 degrees outside. You go in Arizona, it's 84 and sunny. So it was just fantastic. That's
That
the thing I like
documentary is
about
hilarious when he's holding the sign up and saying, "These games don't count."
it. Right? They don't. They don't.
Remember, these games don't count.
Yeah.
He was a third base coach for the Cubs when he did that.
But back to what Matt was saying about fuck Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, what are your qualms with the Grand Canyon State?
Well, see, basically it boils down, for me personally, I'm an albino and it's 180 degrees there. That shit doesn't mix.
love it.
I went there I was there I've been there quite a few times because, I'm just a glutton for punishment. And when I sold magazines, we went fucking everywhere. Like, I've seen your trash cans fucking melting, and I'm like, should I be out here right now? Is this safe? People are like, get the fuck in my house, you crazy bastard. And I'm like, I'm selling stuff. They're like, go die.
Jesus. Yeah,
What was Aurora around Phoenix? They actually, so we were driving down the road in a truck with my buddies one day, and we had the window barely fucking cracked, and he had these nice subs, and they heard the subs like way back in some fucking neighborhood, because sound carries out there in the desert. That shit, there's no buffer.
vast.
Yes.
Yeah. Acoustics
very-
here are interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they pull us over like a gas station, like way up the fucking road, and they're like, blah, 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 Norzoiderans, just turn it down. And I'm like, whatever. They're like, can I see your license? I'm like, fuck. Like,
God damn it.
here you go. And I hand it to them. And they're like, they come back, they're like, did you know it's suspended? And I'm like, well, I still have the license. I mean, it's right there.
You didn't ask me that part.
Well, you're not getting that back. And I'm like, well, obviously I don't know, because otherwise I wouldn't still have it. One of the counterparts somewhere would have told me. And he was like, yeah, okay. We're not going to jail you, but we have to tow the car.
No. Oh, man.
And I'm like, what? And I'm like, can we catch a ride to a bus stop? He's like, no.
What? Really?
And I'm like, where's the nearest bus stop? He's like, I don't know, Google it. And then they proceed to tell us to fuck off. So I Google it, and it's Phoenix.
Oh, shit.
That's like a 10-mile fucking walk at least.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. The bus system is horrible here. I remember when I first moved here, we ended up choosing a place that was 5 minutes away from where I was going to be working. And I was like, maybe I can take the bus. And then I looked on Google how long it would take to get to work, and it was like 45 minutes
Yeah.
a day.
Yeah.
and 2 connections. So it's just it doesn't make any sense.
That's ridiculous.
And it was a 5-minute ride?
Yeah, 5-minute by just driving there, and then
Well, I mean, their bus system is like super just awful. And
yeah.
when we saw the bus pull up, we looked at the apartment complex we were sitting beside, and we were like, getting in their house is probably way better than that. Let's just go to work. So we're like walking up to people's doors, and we have like sweat just dripping off of our fucking shirts
man.
and shit. We're like, hey, we're selling
man.
magazines to not be here.
Oh shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Awesome.
Yeah. I can't imagine. I remember I was
And
trying
it
to-
was, and sorry to interrupt, but it was also in the middle of the protests over the border laws and shit that were going on with Jan Richardson, I think was the governor's name or whatever the fuck her name.
Jan Brewer.
Yeah, Jan Brewer, right before she got shot in the face or something or exploded. That was
Oh, from Tucson. I can't remember her name. Yeah.
It was Arizona's off the chains, man. The weather's trying to kill you. The people want to kill you. The Mexican cartels want to kill you. The fucking snakes want to kill you. It's fucking wild, man.
Now you understand why everyone has a gun. It's because everything's just trying to kill.
Right.
It's like our Australia.
I like. I like that. I like that.
There's this one really nice. Well, there's this one, like really nice, really cool part called Flagstaff that is fucking awesome, and the weather isn't Satan's asshole, and it's a good place. The people are super nice, and there's a lot of places to drink, and you're right up on the mountains, and there's snow during the winter, and it's fucking normal. And then you go everywhere else in Arizona, and it's all the rest of Australia, like the shit they tell you not to drive through because you'll die.
Their own time zone and everything.
Seriously. It is funny, though. My first year back here, we ended up getting stuck in a snowstorm in Arizona.
No
trying
way,
to
yeah.
make it- Yeah, trying to make it to the Grand Canyon, which, interestingly enough, I found out afterwards that Flagstaff gets more snow than Buffalo, New York.
Yes.
Wow.
It doesn't accumulate like Buffalo does, but it's just 7,000 foot elevation, so lots of clouds, lots of snow.
Just happens.
Yeah. I remember my wife and I, we spent New Year's there 2016 or something, and it got down to -7 or 8. It was just so fucking cold.
What up in Flagstaff or?
Yeah, up in Flagstaff. Yeah. But I agree with you. Flagstaff's beautiful. It's a lovely town, especially in the summer too. I think
It's so pretty.
my brother lives there. He doesn't even have air conditioning because it's like high 70s, maybe 80s in summer. So it's gorgeous.
It's really weird how like there is just that little patch of livable area, and the rest of it fucking you can't leave plastic products outside. Like, how the fuck do cars not melt?
How do animals not die?
There was a day that they could not fly planes because it got over 120 degrees. And so everyone was thinking, oh my God, did it get so hot that the tires are going to start to melt or whatever? But that wasn't the case, but they ended up saying that they have these manuals for how to operate the equipment inside the airplanes. And they were saying the manuals didn't have any instructions because obviously pressure and things would vary depending on how hot it was.
Yeah.
They said over 120 degrees, they just didn't have instructions.
They didn't have the measurements. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the air density isn't really high enough for a plane to fly very well.
Gotcha.
That has a lot to do with it because hot air rises, so the air, as soon as it hits that fucking 160 degree pavement, it's like, oh shit, hot, and it skyrockets up, so
Damn. Yeah. That totally makes sense. But anyway, yeah.
fucking
It's hot as-
science, man.
Well, so what made you break up with comedy? I'm dying to hear the story.
Oh, yeah. So I broke up with comedy. I started doing stand-up comedy when I moved back here. I had been about a year and a half in with the podcast, and I wanted to get into stand-up. And I thought, wow, this would be really cool to kind of write my own stuff. The podcast is more improv-ish, where it's not scripted. We're just making up our stuff. We have questions and everything that we'll answer, but we're not doing homework and writing down answers for them. So I wanted to get into stand-up. I started doing that for a little bit, and I took a class starting out because I didn't know how to do it, and I had a limited amount of time where I thought, okay, I could try and just go to open mics and everything, but I'll try and see if there's value in going to a class.
Right.
So the class, the way that it was structured was it was 5 sessions. You wrote 5 minutes, and then you ended up doing a showcase at the end. So I ended up doing a couple of those classes, and I really liked it. And then I started making friends with comedians and started getting hookups to do other smaller shows.
Right.
I never did anything too big. But then I would also, some of the guests that I had, so I would have touring comedians that would be doing a show in Phoenix during a weekend, and then I'd promote their show, and then they also would invite me for guest spots. So I started doing that a little bit, and then I got to a point where I really loved doing the podcast. I really loved doing stand-up, but I what I was trying to value at the time, I was thinking I can put 100% into one of these things,
Right.
but not both right now.
Okay.
So I don't want to say I quit necessarily, but I broke up. We're still off and on because sometimes I might do some stuff. So
Oh, one night stand kind of thing.
yeah.
getcha.
She'll text me
Little
sometime and be
finger
like, I need, a little finger blast of stand-up comedy. But I don't do it that much, where podcasting, I do it all the time, and I'm trying. Last week I did 5 podcasts, and this week I think it was 4. So with quarantine, it's super easy to be able to just set up a Zoom show. So
Yeah.
or set it up on Zoom. So I've been doing that a lot, and I'm really loving it. And
Now, do you feel the quality of the podcast is going down because you're having to utilize Zoom and not doing things in person, or?
you know what? It's actually, that's a great question. I was very afraid that it was going to. And then all of the comedians too that I was having on, they were like, Zoom shows suck compared to actual stand-up and open mics and things like that. And so I was also thinking, it's got to really suck where you're saying something and then maybe somebody has a quick quip that they're going to say or something. And with Zoom, that's really tough. But it ended up, the first couple episodes were awkward, but after that, I think if you get to a certain amount of people, it gets tough. But I feel like us, or if it's 4 people or less, it's usually okay. I don't remember where I read or heard this, but I was reading about Scott Aukerman with Comedy Bang Bang and his podcast, where he's usually got a bunch of people, and they do things like, if you want to say something, you raise your hand. And so they set up these rules where, if you want to just interject real quick, you raise your hand. And then I started trying to adopt little things like that. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
it makes me think of a bunch of people doing cocaine and having a lot of thoughts all at once. Hold on, I'm next. I'm going to explain my part of the universe next. You know?
I thought you were going to say raising your hand to get the next line. Like,
well, yeah, that was what we did. I mean, what?
Can I interrupt you?
I've got a point. I don't know if you know this.
I got something to say.
I'm next.
I forgot. Make another line.
Writing it down.
Yeah. So I definitely think that there was a little bit of a dip in quality, but I think it's getting back up. Honestly, though, I've forgotten almost what it's like to do it in person. So I don't know what to compare it to much anymore, but I've been trying to get a little studio set up myself in this room. As you can see, these randomly placed.
Get some panels up. I like it. I like it.
So getting that, I don't know when I'm going to use it, but we'll see. But online's been okay. It's been okay, especially because there are guests too, like us, where Ohio, Arizona, or I'll get guests in New York. And
that's what's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's all stuck at home doing the same shit.
Exactly. So if somebody says no to guests on my podcast, I know they just don't like me because I know they have time.
That's fucking great.
I mean, that's probably about accurate. It's not like anybody has anything fucking else to do. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, we're about to. They just announced the city of Columbus here is talking about like making bars and restaurants and stuff shut down at 11.
Another curfew.
Oh, because that's when the COVID comes. It's at nighttime.
It's after 11.
he said that he just wants to lessen the amount of time where people have the greater risk because of the lax rules that are in place for like restaurants and bars and that kind of thing. Because if you're sitting at the bar, you don't really have to have your mask on because you're supposed to be 6 feet away from everybody and you're drinking or you're eating or whatever, you know what I mean? So they kind of have that baked into the rules.
It's a pain in the ass.
I see.
All around.
I'm pretty sure when I get a few drinks in me, I like to yell in your face.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I feel bad because I shouldn't be at a bar yelling in people's faces. So I don't go to bars right now.
Yeah. It
He
kind of
actually
makes
does.
sense. Yeah, no, it kind of does make sense because when you think about it, with maybe that, they could do that, close everything after 11, or just make sure that the volume on the music in bars and clubs is at a certain level where you don't feel like you have to yell. Because I feel when I get drunk and the music's super loud, my volume control goes way out of hand, and then I start yelling and screaming and not realizing it.
Same thing.
Bass yeller.
Yeah.
Patrick screams.
No, I mean, bar shows definitely thwart that theory because, it can be dead silent and there's always drunks in the back yelling something fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What is it like with the comedy scene in Columbus? I'm guessing they're still open. Are they doing half capacity or something?
There's some stuff. Dayton's got some mics. One of the clubs, both clubs in Dayton are open. Cincinnati shut down. Dave Chappelle's like 30 minutes from my house holding fucking awesome shows.
Oh, damn.
I'm so jealous.
Dude, it's so hard.
Jealous.
It's so hard. It's just not. I have the money. I have it sitting there in my bank right now. I could get a ticket. I could get 2. You have to buy 2. I could take my wife. She couldn't be that mad at me.
Right.
But I can't fucking do it because I just can't afford it and I'm too big of it.
I've been trying to get tickets, man. Every time it goes on, it's sold out.
If you can buy 2, I will pick up James from Pittsburgh and drive us there and have a shits and a giggle, and I'll pay you double.
Well, they've got real strict rules with it. I mean,
oh yeah,
Dave is like
ticket.
Dave is basically paying for the entire town of Yellow Springs to get COVID tested like every day.
Right.
That's awesome.
That way they can move around the town and not have to worry about catching anything,
I mean, they're not doing anything stupid either. They're keeping distance and
they're not.
And Burt Kreischer's got a drive-in tour coming here.
Yeah, Columbus. In Columbus.
Oh yeah, hot summer nights or something like that. He popped into Phoenix for I think it was just one night.
Yeah. That's all he's doing is like one night and then bouncing.
And Mark Riblett did one, I think too. I don't know.
I mean, I've had some shows. Working on some bookings right now. I mean, it's here, but it just depends on where you're at, man. Like the show I did in Dayton was perfect. The show I did in Greenville was tolerable, and the show I did in Akron was probably would have not gone very well had there been more people. You know what I mean? Like, if people would have actually showed up, I don't think anyone would have had a mask or been 6 feet apart because the 15 people who were there were so shit-faced before the show started.
I honestly thought you meant like I have a certain amount of comedy for about 12 or 13 people. Gets to like 20 people, that's not funny anymore.
It goes to hell.
Yeah. I'm really good with 12 to 20. Yeah.
No, the smaller the crowd gets, the harder it gets because if you're not laughing, which is, possible because of how dark and cynical my material is, I yell at you. And if there's like 3 people in the audience, how I'm going to be like, you fat fuck, why aren't you yelling? And the other 2 people are going to be like, why are you picking on him? We're not laughing either, motherfucker. This isn't funny. Fuck you. And then what the fuck do? I end up like Bill Burr in Philadelphia, just with less chance of death.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that made him extra famous.
Yeah, well, that's because everybody outside of Philadelphia was like, this motherfucking ginger has so little soul. He can thwart the Philadelphia people.
That
we need
was
to show
They
him
are-
some respect.
You're always bringing race into this, Matt.
When he won them over at the end. That is what made it.
it was such a weird cycle because I think I watched that or heard that 2 or 3 different times, and it was just this ebb and flow of boo, clap, laugh,
Yes.
clap, boo, clap, laugh. It was so bizarre.
He would like just say awful shit to Philly people and then slowly get him back into it and
They
then
deserve
bust
it.
out with, but the Eagles are never going to win another Super Bowl, you pieces of shit. And you're just like, yes!
You fucking one Bridge City motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You guys have a statue of someone that's not real. Oh. So good.
All of
And
those
then
things
6
are
minutes.
True.
Yeah.
Oh, Billy Burr's fucking amazing. I love that guy.
That was legendary.
Fantastic.
That was just way too good. Yeah. But
And- But by the end of that, they were definitely ready to fucking slit his throat. Like, there were people in that audience who were like, let me see this motherfucker outside of this bitch. Philly people are nuts. They're crazy.
That was the few crazies in Phillies, and there is more crazies in Phillies than most places. But I'm from Pittsburgh. It's like the rivalry of the world of a sports, and it's so much fun because they don't have any Super Bowls, and it's so much fun. I'm always like, you guys are in the. Well, maybe we'll meet in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, but they had One Nut Cruck for a while.
Yeah. I love that dude, by the way.
Yeah,
John
he's
Kruk.
John Crook was fucking awesome, man. Him and Lenny Dykstra.
Lenny Dykstra.
The arc of his life.
Man. I've got a joke about Wawa and cheesesteaks and how Philly fucked up that sandwich so bad. With like, I can't wait to like really work it because it's a fucking 10-minute long story, you know, that weaves you through the history of Wawa and their steak sandwich, and macaroni and cheese, and what the name means, and how Philly ruined the cheesesteak. Like, I fucking can't because I hate Philly cheesesteaks. They're awful.
Right.
If you've ever, for people who are listening who have never had a Philly cheesesteak, in Philly, the big people that you hear of, you know, the Travel Channel people and everybody, they're all about the
Geno's and
cheese
Pat's.
whiz. Fuck those
Geno's
people.
and Pat's.
Fuck Geno's and Pat's.
They
They're
both suck.
fucking processed canned cheese whiz bullshit. Like, you don't put that
They
in a
both
goddamn
suck.
beautiful sandwich like that. You put the
Yeah.
provolone on the top. The worst thing you should ever add to a fucking cheesesteak is mayo.
That's disgusting.
yeah, that's kind of gross.
Well, you know.
You could put anything on my cheesesteak, I'd probably eat it.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't say I wouldn't
Ex-
eat it.
Except
I'd
for
still
cheese
eat it.
whiz. I won't eat cheese whiz on fucking principle.
no
it's
cheese
just
whiz.
fucking principle. It's just
Right.
principle.
To do it technically correctly, I worked with a chef from Philly and Steamboat Springs. It was supposed to be melted provolone. You're supposed to like melt the log of provolone with a little bit of milk. And that's what you're supposed to have. It's not cheese whiz. It's supposed to be a melted log that you start at the beginning of the day. And it just, and it slowly becomes this liquid provolone cheese.
Yep.
So where did Cheese Whiz come to play? How did that become tradition? Somebody just get really drunk. They didn't get cheese on their cheesesteak, and they were like,
Well,
what the
no,
fuck do I have in the house?
because those bastards fucking add it on top of the sliced provolone. So like they make the sandwich almost completely perfect. Which, granted, you know, melting a whole log of provolone every fucking day kind of sucks.
It's hilarious to watch.
But so I mean, I kind you know, I'm okay with the sliced shit, but you know, it's just no. Those fucking people in Philly are animals.
Wait, and I'm not sure. How does this melting the whole log of provolone process go?
You take
It's
a
like-
log of provolone, you chop it into little squares, you put it in the pan, a little bit of cream, and you slowly melt it. It's like it takes about an hour.
Holy shit! And then you just kind of scoop it onto the cheesesteak.
Yeah.
It's an quicker, easier way than putting slices on the sandwich, but yes.
Interesting.
And then you scoop it all off the fucking grill, toss it in the fucking in the
Yup.
Kaiser roll. and chow the fuck down on that shit. That shit's amazing. That shit's it.
There are rules.
There are rules
Pickle and cheese.
with sandwiches.
Like
There are
Kaiser bun.
fucking rules. There are fucking rules. Like I walked out of this
There
place,
are rules of good sandwich making.
dude. Man, I take that shit super fucking serious. I think that's
Me
why people
too.
in Jersey liked me so much, because like I would have like 30-minute conversations with people about fucking sandwiches. My other favorite one to talk to people about is the Italian beef from Chicago. That gets ruined constantly. Fucking constantly. Like you go to a restaurant, you're like, let me get this Italian beef, and they bring you this sandwich and a little cup of the sauce, and you're like, this isn't a French dip, motherfucker. What the fuck is wrong with you? And not only that, it's not enough sauce. Like,
My God.
I didn't ask for au jus or whatever the fuck.
exactly.
Right,
And
right.
it's not actually an au jus sauce, because the sauce that you're supposed to dip the entire sandwich, bread and all, once it's assembled in,
That's
is the
soak
meat.
style, but yes.
Is the meat sauce that the meat is fucking cooking in. So it's like just this huge mass of, you're fucking your clothes up, but by the time you're done, it's like it's heaven in your mouth,
Yes.
man. It's so good.
When done correctly, it is one of the best sandwiches on earth.
So I wasn't a big sandwich guy, so I don't know how the traditional the Italian beef from Chicago is supposed to be.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, most everybody, the actual innards of the sandwich itself is super easy. I mean, the spice palette and all that, the pepperoncini, all of that is super easy. It's just nobody fucking.
Jardinera. It's supposed
Oh
to be
yeah,
a jardinera.
My bad. I just got dixed on.
In a I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but it's like
There's a difference. There's a huge difference.
There's some
a
serious
huge fuck-
opinions here about sandwiches.
I mean,
No, he's correct, man.
Don't-
There's a
don't
difference
fuck
between
around.
pepperoncini and
Yes.
whatever the fucking word I can't pronounce right now, because I'm
Jardinera.
ashamed.
Jardinera.
It took me
Shame.
forever. I remember trying to make it at home and just buying sliced pepperoni. It's like something's not right. Finding a good jardinera that works.
So wait. Is
these are so
jardinera?
specific.
Is it a specific type of pepperoncino, or is it like?
Well, there's pepperoncinis and other
Yes. peppers
peppers that are in it.
There's
It's actually
okra,
a blend.
There's pepperoni.
That's what I was thinking.
There is cauliflower. There is red pepper. And it's usually, you can get it spicy, mild, and blah blah blah. But yeah, and it's in olive oil.
Okay, right,
Not in
right.
water. Not in the water
Right.
like a pepperoni comes in.
Yeah,
That's where. Yes. A
comes
good-
from the Italian word giardiniera, which is
Yes.
garden variety. So
There you see.
God, I love this podcast so
Good
much.
dago. Good dago.
Hey, your Italian finally came in
learned
useful
so
all
much.
these years later on my podcast. That's great.
it stayed dormant for 7 years, and then finally I was able to.
The Rosetta Stone paid off with a hot
worked.
Brazilian wife. Now you get to help translate shit on podcasts.
I got to use that as a testimonial too on the back of the Portuguese box. It's like, I got a hot wife from this.
Why the fuck should I buy your product, boy? This is my wife, motherfucker. I see why I should buy your product, sir.
Learn Italian. Learn Portuguese.
You could get one of these.
Shit, I was
can get
just
an
getting
Italian
women
beef.
drunk. I didn't know. It was that easy.
That's the bonus course of Rosetta Stone. How to get them drunk.
Did you
There
sell
you
a
go.
lot of German Rosetta Stones down south?
German was a high seller. I don't know about down south. I didn't look at the sales by region. In Jersey, we got a lot of Italian, obviously.
That makes sense.
Yeah. A lot of GTLing over there. We got, a fair amount of Portuguese, French. Everyone wants to learn French, Spanish, a lot of
Right.
English, actually. I sold a lot of English to Spanish speakers, Chinese. Mostly those. And then what else was there? Did I say Spanish? A lot of people, the languages that people ask for, some of them, Portuguese, people ask for Portuguese from Portugal. We only had the Brazilian Portuguese, which is
Yes.
pretty drastically different, actually.
Very different.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, but
Both my nieces learned Portuguese in grade school in Providence. There's a large Portuguese faction up there, plus a large Italian faction in Providence, Rhode Island. Run by the mob. Yeah, it was a very mob-run city for about 20, 30 years.
I would have never guessed.
You know, it's funny because there's a lot of mob that comes from Sicily or the south of Italy. So you hear the accent a lot. I never heard it. My family's from the north of Italy, so we never said things like mozzarella or like gabagool. So when I went over to Jersey, I started hearing that, and I was like, what are these guys saying? And fun fact, I think you might know it, Patrick, but gabagool is in Italian, it's capicola, which is a cured meat.
Yeah, cured meat.
I don't know whose jaw got broken by the mob that was saying gabagool. And then it just ended up being a thing, but it's just such an interesting accent. So, but it's cool. I like it over there. The mob never messed with me, so that was fine.
They don't. In Providence, it's a real different. There's actually a great story about the mayor of Providence. It's a great podcast to ever check out sometimes. But it's very much it still is, but much more so through the 80s.
Yeah, they're everywhere. The hotel we stayed in Jersey, there were two other dudes who were staying in there that were like, after we drank with them at the bar for 2 weeks, they were like, yeah, we're in the mob. If anybody fucks with you, let us know. Stay the fuck out of Canada, because it was me and 3 of my friends, right? And then these 2 fucking dudes, and like every night we just got shit faced. So after a couple of weeks, and they realized that we were just these fucking crazy fucking people who traveled the country getting fucked up and making people buy bullshit. They were like, these guys are all right. If you need us to kill somebody for you, let us know. Stay the fuck out of Camden.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
It was great. Awesome. They were cool ass dudes, man. I don't remember a single fucking story they told me, but I remember being drunk as fuck outside of that bar going, what? And that was it. And dropping a gallon bottle of Svedka and not caring.
Jesus. I hope that they would kill somebody poetically with your magazines that they didn't end up buying.
We never tried to sell them shit. I mean, like, especially once we found that out, we were like,
no. I meant the people that they said that they would beat the shit out of for you, on behalf of you.
There wasn't a Gangster Weekly?
No.
Mobster Monthly.
Gabagool.
Gabagool Digest. I like that.
Who's this freaking guy?
I'm walking here weekly.
The monthly interview with some fucking random schmuck.
They're all anonymous, pixelated faces. You can't see their identity.
I'm going to tell you a story about this guy I knew. He had like 4 chins. We called him Tommy 4-Chin, but his name wasn't Tommy. He just looked like that motherfucker from the movie.
Oh, God.
So are you a Joey Diaz fan at all? I mean, it sounds like you got a love for Jersey, man. It's kind of almost hard to like not be into that culture out there and not get his comedy more than most people, I would think.
Yeah. I like what I've heard of him. I'm not a huge fan, but not necessarily because I don't like him. I think to be honest, I first heard him on Netflix, or I saw him on Netflix, The Degenerates, and so I saw the episode where he did his stand-up show in Vegas, I think it was. So yeah, I thought he was hilarious, and then I've heard him on, obviously, his podcast. I think I heard a couple episodes, and I can't remember if it was Joe Rogan. I don't know if he's been on Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh yeah,
they're all friends.
Tons of times.
Yeah. His best stuff, in my opinion, is he did 2 episodes for Ari Shaffir of This Is What Not Happening. On Comedy Central, like they're uncensored. You come out and tell some of the most fucked up shit. Oh man, it's so fucking good. So I love that motherfucker because he uses all this old like Jersey slang, this Cuban slang. It's so fucking. Because even if you don't know what the fuck he's talking about, like you just fucking punch that monkey in the fucking face, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Whoa. Exactly.
Oh my God. What I was gonna ask. So Joey Diaz, you're a big fan of him. What other what other comedians or are big influences for you?
I mean, the guys that are actually like my direct influences would be like Pryor and Kinnison.
Nice,
Uh,
nice.
And then, Coco out of the newer group, because he's the one that pushed me over the edge really to do comedy. I was like, if this fucking sick bastard can make a living at this, I can. I never kidnapped nobody. That's probably close to our only difference. I'm not a Cuban immigrant, but I look weird. So there's that. I don't know, it's like, fuck it. If he can do it, I sure as fucking. And I've always been like, I've been a huge Pryor fan since I was young. Like I first saw Live on the Sunset Strip whenever I was like 10 or 11.
Oh yeah.
And like just
Yeah.
listening to him talk about catching himself on fire, smoking crack, like that shit was hilarious to me.
That's fucking crazy.
I loved that
Yeah.
shit.
So
and,
crazy.
And I saw Sam Kinison for the first time on an episode of Saturday Night Live with Stevie Ray Vaughan. And
Oh, damn.
And the song he did was the song that he wrote for his most recent ex-wife that he started writing before they got divorced, and he finished it after they got divorced. So the beginning of it's all nice and sweet and, good. And then, like, randomly halfway through the fucking the song, he's just like, fuck you, bitch! You ripped my heart out! I hope you fucking die! And, like, I'm sitting in my mom's, my parents' house by myself, like, crying, fucking laughing.
Oh yeah.
And I've ever since then, I've yelled obscene, obscure shit at people and just love it. Like one of my favorite things, I love Fucker Denied or The Bet's Off is a good one that I like to yell at people. Yelling fucker I did, that's a good one. You see couples walking down the street. I've always liked asking people how much, but you can't really do that anymore nowadays because of Me Too. My all-time favorite though is like at a stoplight. You get somebody to roll down your window, especially if you've got like your girlfriend or wife or whatever in the car, right? And you go, hey man, I got this problem. I was hoping you might be able to help me out with. I'm not from around here. Works a lot better with out-of-state plates, which we had as we traveled. Duh. That's just fucking come on. Just stay in the story with me here. So we pulled up to people all the time, and I'd be like, "Hey, I got this problem. Can you tell me where the Catholic abortion clinic is?" And fucking people would always look at me like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? There's no such," and they would literally tell me that doesn't exist. There's no such thing. And I'd get like real disappointed looking and be like, fuck. You got a coat hanger I could borrow?
Oh my god.
Wow.
And this is one time in St. Petersburg, Florida. I started that little joke out with this old ass lady on a fucking Harley. And before I could get the coat hanger part out, she's like, if you want to follow me to my apartment a couple blocks up, I got a metal coat hanger you could use. And we drank with her that night. She was a fucking awesome person. She was fun as fuck.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Every now and then jokes like that pay off fucking beautiful like that. Like that was perfect, man. I was
Just gotta work once, man.
Man, just one time. That's all
That's all it's gotta work.
That one magical time.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Nice.
Well, brother, where can people find you?
People can find me at Instagram. I'll plug my podcast. You can find me, and there are links to my Instagram there. But Instagram at a comedy advice podcast, acomedyadvicepodcast.com. And you guys can listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you guys listen to podcasts.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, man, it was great meeting you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you guys too. I hope you take care and have a good
Drive
one.
fast, take chances.
There you go. Don't
Thanks,
forget
man.
the Jardinera.